Luka looking at Steph with the ball. And that's why you've got...
This guy here is Gary Payton II. He's actually not a basketball player. He's really not. This man is a professional thief who just happened to put on a basketball jersey one day and got noticed by basketball scouts. I mean...
last season. Oh.
Weird chapter.
Yeah.
And I still don't know.
I'm a little surprised the commissioner hasn't put out a warrant yet for the arrest of Payton because this guy is committing grand theft on a nightly basis. Anyway, a pickpocket, a cat burglar, a robber, a thief, whatever you want to call it, this is how Gary Payton II has been robbing NBA players on national television. Let me bring up some numbers and statistics here for y'all to see. In the per 36-minute statistics for steals, you have CP3 at number 10, you got DeJounte Murray at number 7, and what the heck is this? You actually got Andre Drummond at number 6. How in the world did he get on this list? Anyway, that'll be a topic for another day, I suppose. Continuing on, number 3 is Matisse Thybulle from the 76ers, and all the way at number 1, you got the one and only Gary Payton II. This dude has been stealing basketballs at a faster pace than anyone else in the entire league this season. And just before we get into how he's been doing all this damage on the defensive end of the court, you want to know just what completely baffles my mind? You might be a bit surprised by it too, considering how this dude plays basketball. It's GP2's resume. Here, check it out. It actually starts from about 6 years ago. This man was undrafted in 2016, then signed and waived by the Houston Rockets, then signed by the Rockets G League team, then signed and waived by the Milwaukee Bucks, and then he wasn't given another 10-day contract by the Lakers, and then he was waived by the Portland Trail Blazers. Followed by that, he wasn't given another 10-day contract by the Wizards. Then he was traded to the Cavaliers G League team, then traded to the Lakers G League team. Then he signed with the Wizards again, then drafted 15th overall in the G League draft. Then signed a 10-day contract with the Warriors in 2021, then signed the rest of the season with the Warriors. Then he was waived by the Warriors. Then he was signed again by the Warriors. Then, finally, he signed his first guaranteed contract with the Warriors earlier this season. Sheesh, guys. And here I was thinking I was a persistent guy. GP2's level of determination makes me feel like just a quitter. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at how this guy has actually been stealing so many Spalding... No, wait, they changed it, that's right. Let's take a look at how this guy has been stealing so many Wilson basketballs this season. It all starts with his full court pickups, which is an absolute beauty to watch. GP2 is constantly putting on ball pressure. I mean, most players only defend at 94 feet out when there's a few minutes left in a close game. But look at this. It's the third quarter with 3 minutes 57 seconds remaining, and yet Payton is already working, and look what happens here. Look at that speed to keep up with the ball defender, and then those active hands to steal the ball. Ish Smith is a 10-year vet, but Gary Payton put him in a defensive blender. And you know what? It doesn't matter whether you're a role player or a superstar. Gary Payton will hound you, and he'll do everything he can to steal the ball from you on live television. Here he is again, and here's Ja Morant. Payton didn't get the steal here in the full court set, but he definitely made Morant feel as uncomfortable as possible. And there it is. Robbed, stolen, pickpocketed, another extra possession for the Warriors, and another smile on the face of Dub Nation's finest thief. Here's just one more quick example of this full court pressure. This is Luka Doncic, the young superstar phenom, and he's being targeted by Payton. Look at that chase. Luka probably hasn't heard the phrase that when GP2 is around, dribble at your own risk, because eventually Payton steals it, effortlessly, like an afternoon walk in the park. I mean, he just took it out of Luka's hands with zero resistance. My goodness, guys. I'm glad this guy decided to use his talents on a basketball court instead of elsewhere. Otherwise, I'd probably already have lost an iPhone or two. Anyway, next up on how GP2 has been robbing NBA players is with his ability to keep up with defenders laterally, and by using his quick hands and knack for knowing when to reach his hands into the cookie jar. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Here's Payton guarding Tyler Hero. Look how Payton times that swipe on the second bounce. Hero, although he's been playing some great basketball this year, didn't really stand a chance when he was being guarded by this dude. That's some elite level defensive IQ. I mean, when most people try to take a swipe at the ball, they don't get anything. They swipe at air pretty much, and that's followed with a mean mug, but this dude has a high percentage swipe that appears to work 50% of the time. And just like how we all get dazzled by Steph's shooting, Kyrie's dribbling, and Morant's explosiveness, Gary Payton's defense is an art. It's no wonder why Klay Thompson said before, I can watch Gary Payton II play defense all night long. And it's true. When I watch basketball, watching defenses is usually boring, but when I watch the young glove, it's honestly more exciting than watching some players on offense. Anyway, let's take another look at this. Here's GP2 on LeVert. LeVert had nothing against GP2 in the defense of the Warriors, and eventually, just like the previous clip, GP2 used his knowledge of the optimal time to steal, and it worked like magic.
Yeah, they're switching everything. No screens work. LeVert on GP2, down to 4, lost the handle.
Here's another quick example, against the current MVP frontrunner, Joel Embiid. Here's Joel and here's Payton. Joel wants to post up JTA here, but
Embiid post up low. How about Payton comes in and grabs it for him?
My goodness, guys. The timing of it, the understanding of knowing how Joel was going to bring the ball up. This is the work of a professional thief. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. And this is why Steve Kerr constantly says things like, he's so dynamic defensively, it's hard to take him off the floor because of what he does for us. Let me show you one more quick example of GP2's fast hands. Here he is going up against the 2021 Rookie of the Year LaMelo Ball.
When they're moving it that well, they're usually successful.
Man, even against elite ball handlers, GP2 makes things as difficult as possible. Anyway, let's move on here. Lastly, how GP2 has been robbing NBA players is his understanding of passing lanes.
Looks like the Kings facing a zone defense here by Golden State, and they get the turnover.
Out most likely 10 days. Bad pass from Caruso.
Live to Salt Lake City with Craig Bolerjack and Thurl Bailey.
Drive inside, Rudy has that pass pick.
And yeah, some players study offense 24/7 like Kyrie Irving, but if there was ever a defensive version of Kyrie, it'd have to be GP2 because the angles, the understanding of how the ball moves, the understanding of his craft, GP2 is on tier 1 when it comes to on-ball defense, and he's been using that to just absolutely rob any player who steps onto the floor, regardless of their size and position. When he was asked what's the difference between going up against guards and wings and centers, GP2 responded, nothing. Doesn't matter. 1 through 5, it really doesn't matter. I just try to help my team get a stop. And where he got this defensive ability is none other than his dad. Here's what the elder Payton had to say about his son's defensive abilities. He was around me a lot and watched what I was doing. He just has a knack for it, with his long arms, good hands and feet. I used to tell him all the time that if you have good hands and feet, you can be a good defender. He moves well, and he's very active. Anyway, guys, let's move on from one Warrior to another. And now I want to talk about the 19-year-old Jonathan Kuminga. My goodness, guys. This guy has greatness inside of him, and if you want to know what I mean, then just click this video right here, where I go over just how and why this young dude is going to become a superstar in this league. It's an incredible video that you won't want to miss. So click it, and like always, I'll see you on the other side.